Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast where we do unasked for audio commentaries of Star Trek episodes. My name is Shawn.
My name is Matt.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
Minh.
I'm May.
Welcome back, everybody, and if I'm not mistaken, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, yes.
I think
Happy
this
holidays.
show drops
Happy holidays.
Christmas Day. If I'm
Oh,
not
is this
mistaken.
that episode?
I think so.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I was going to look. Yep, that's right. This episode will release
So,
Christmas Day.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, guys. I'm glad
Joe
we all
Biden's
got
going
what
to
we
be the
wanted.
president in a couple of weeks in your future as you're listening to this.
Yep.
Inauguration
Hopefully.
Day is coming soon.
Our futures, too.
Our futures too, but it's further away in our away in our future.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving yet in our timeline, but
Will we? Will we?
hoping that we can move on. We're here watching Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 13, Time Squared. I got 45 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock, and I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
Wow, is it really called Time Squared? We've been talking about time travel a lot.
It is called Time Squared. It's like a math joke.
Oh.
Is it?
No.
I was going to say, what's the joke?
Apparently, the original title was Time with the little 2.
Oh, it was. Okay. It was a math square.
Yeah.
I see. What's Riker doing? He's cooking
cooking.
up a storm,
He's making eggs.
He's making eggs poorly.
making some eggs.
They're having
Is
a
he
little
cooked-
brunch time.
They're having a little dinner party.
Oh,
Is this the first time they've actually cooked food on the show? Like they've shown cooking?
It's not typical.
Yeah, because it's
usually
normally
they-
gelatinous cubes.
Well, or they
Well-
use the replicator to just order up what they want.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's making a point that there's no nuance when the replicator makes it. you know?
Riker is a real man of.
Yeah, he likes the
many talents,
20th
like,
century.
He's he likes jazz. He likes cooking. He's a
Mhm.
real well-rounded person.
Renaissance man.
Yeah. He doesn't strike me as much of a reader. I bet he doesn't read books. I bet he reads the reports that he has to read for work because he's good at his job. But I bet he doesn't read for
For
pleasure.
pleasure.
He doesn't strike me as a reader.
Shoot.
He does other
Just
things.
one more
Pleasure.
thing me and Riker have in common,
Yeah,
aside
okay,
from
some
our rugged handsomeness
and the way you mount chairs.
and how I cook my eggs.
Because we learned in Picard, remember, Min, that Riker also likes to make pizza. He makes his own pizza.
Oh, that's right.
So he has a big pizza oven out in his
They had a big
yard.
pizza oven out on that planet they were living on.
But sure, as you get older, I think you'll as we've gotten older, we've gotten to be more appreciative of cooking and culinary arts and enjoying ourselves.
What did they? Are they having breakfast? Is that why she brought a thermos?
I don't know.
She
It
brought
was-
kind of drink.
I have to say, Riker is not a good cook because he really did not do a good job of making those eggs. Just
No.
watching him do it right now.
I don't know if it's so much that he did a bad job scrambling them, but they're from some weird.
Yeah, they're not chicken eggs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
What,
weird
that's-
eggs from a random star base.
He
Yeah.
called them Owan eggs. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
oh, I see. So he's blaming the eggs, not his
Yes.
preparation.
Correct.
Nah, I still think he didn't quite do it right.
Yeah. It was meant to look weird when he was.
agree.
Min can testify as to the quality of my.
Oh
scrambled
yeah,
eggs.
I have been cooking eggs again from scratch and enjoying them with Matt's recipe that we learned at in Palm
Ooh.
Springs. It's totally remade my appreciation of eggs all over again.
It's
Wow,
not-
you're
it's not
changing
really a
people's
recipe.
lives, Matt.
It's not a recipe. It's just how you do
A
them.
technique, yeah.
Yeah. it's the method.
Are you all careful and stuff?
It's
Yes. It takes here's the thing about scrambled eggs. To do them right takes a long time because you have to cook them very slowly and
Slow.
very low heat to
Mhm.
get them to come out right. So if you're just in a rush and you're trying to make breakfast and you throw some eggs in there and put the thing up on high just to get them done, they're not going to be good. They're not going to be right. You have to low and slow is the key to scramble.
Slow and slow.
Yeah, they're juicy, they're moist, they're yummy, they're delicious. They're like, they're so good.
Well, it's got the Minh seal of approval.
That's
And you don't need to do anything else to them. Little salt, little
a
pepper.
little salt, yeah. Super easy. Super easy. It's just take time.
All right.
Shawn,
Well,
give us stats.
We're watching season 2, episode 13, Times Squared. Original air date April 1st, 1989. Happy April's Fool's Day. The Enterprise comes across its own shuttlecraft adrift in space, a duplicate, with an unconscious duplicate Captain Picard inside.
It's a timey-wimey episode. They
It
told you
is.
right in the title.
Yep.
As I like to call sister, Picard style.
Yeah. There's two of them.
Yeah, but Sister was played by actual twins, not the same actress twice.
Because that's what matters.
This is more like there's got to be a show where somebody played twins. What's that? Patty Duke.
There you go. It's the Patty Duke show.
Bosom buddies.
There's a timely reference that modern 21st century listeners are sure to know about.
Well, I would say, in my life, that show is called Liv and Maddie, which is a Disney sitcom, tween sitcom, where the girl played twins. They actually had Patty Duke on
Miley
that show.
Cyrus played Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus on Hannah Montana's show.
Although that's sort of cheating.
But that was actually the same
twins.
person playing two different outfits. That was not actual two people. Anyway, this is fascinating.
Aaron, what do you think the rating of this show is?
This was a good one.
We've called it the Sister and the Patty Duke of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the episode?
I did.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's why I knew about the O-on eggs. I'll give it a 7.2.
May, did you watch the episode as well?
I did. I'm going with
We're
classic.
starting to get to a point where more people have watched the episode than not watched the episode.
No. I have not. Come on. Come on now, man.
Jake?
Give it a 5.8.
Or did
7.
you watch it?
Huh? Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, see, that's
Oh,
4-2.
Jeez. Okay.
What
are we doing
it is a continuing source of delighted confusion that Aaron and May are now both watching the episodes every week. I never thought we'd get here.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoying them, right? Like more or less.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a fun one.
Wow. Mission accomplished.
All right.
Thinkers are gonna read it.
This is a solid 6.9.
6.
7.6.
Oh,
Hey, I said 7.2. Did I win?
So Aaron wins.
Hey, I thought it was solid. It's got some time stuff. It's got 2 Picards.
It's got, Patrick Stewart did some great nonverbal acting in this episode.
Yeah.
and verbal acting.
As the second. And then he gets to yell at himself a lot.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, it's where you really like understand that who he is as a captain. Because he's struggling with that, like, I would never leave my ship. I would never be the only survivor. I would go down with the thing. So he's like, why would I make this choice?
Yes. But it turns out there's a good reason for that. I did not rewatch this episode, but I do kind of remember what happens in it.
Yeah, right? It's got an interesting plot.
I watched about the first 30 minutes and then I fell asleep. So I don't remember how this episode ends.
This is not really the first. Is this the first time travel episode that they've done on this show?
I was trying to think. I couldn't remember if they had. This is definitely the first where a duplicate of one of the characters shows up, which is a classic Star Trek trope.
Right. Picard's going to be all, whoa.
What?
Oh,
He
this
looks
one
like
older.
significantly older. Too.
Whoa.
Well, he looks great. Like he's not well. They put some I'm close to dying makeup
Well, he's
on.
supposed to be so close to, he's supposed to be in bad shape, right?
It's kind of, pasty.
He also looks a little more like built up, like a little more beefy, Maybe it's just the makeup.
You know what it was? I know that there's another TNG episode where the entire ship gets caught in like a proper like time loop.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought this was going to be that one, and that's why I'm so disappointed with this episode.
It wasn't the one you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not the fault of this episode. But
That's like from like 5th or 6th season.
it's way later.
So
There are like 2 Asian guys in the background of this scene. So I think they got good representation here.
he shows up in the medical quarters all the time.
Yeah. I remember him being sort of idiotic or silly, or like just he's the one always learning.
Dr. Pulaski likes to yell at him all the time. She's his whipping boy.
He's her whipping.
There you go. That's what I meant.
It's all right. They probably trade back and forth.
That was a pretty low-tech stretcher thing they had.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough money in the budget this week for like anything
Floating.
better than a repurposed like warehouse, thing with crates on.
Wouldn't they normally teleport people nowadays to the sick bay?
Yeah, they do that a lot, like beam us directly to sick bay. They do that quite a bit.
I don't think they felt like it was too much of an emergency.
Right. I mean, that was a slow walk out to the
They're like, we've got one Picard. Is it really that big of a deal if this one dies?
They also look like they spent more on the set budget, or they just they had extra money lying around to do sort of different things. Because I don't think we've seen this set before that they've been on, or is this just like a general soundstage so that they just repurpose? You think that this docking bay?
No, it's they built a docking bay inside the ship.
I feel like this could be also like the cargo, like where they have the cargo teleporter.
They've used this set many times already on the show, because there's been other episodes that have dealt with the stupid ships, the shuttles.
The Star Trek in Vegas, they also tried to build that to scale, yeah, or no?
Well, they never had an actual ship there.
No, okay.
They had like pieces of the bridge and other like transporter room and things like that. But
that'd be sort of cool, like to have a real sort of like ship layout that you go explore and be like, oh, this is the bridge. Oh, this is how it connects to things.
I feel like somebody has tried to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Have you ever heard of that, Matt?
I wasn't listening. What?
So has someone
like everybody else?
Yeah. Well, we're doing our best here, guys.
Has anyone to do it with the turbo lift?
What was the question?
Whether or not anyone's ever like tried to design the entire, like rebuild the Enterprise as like sort of a.
Oh, I mean, not that I know of, but how could that not be a thing that's happened? I mean, of course.
Yeah, you would think about it. I would think somebody would have at least tried to do it. I've never seen one. Obviously.
Well, it would take up a lot of space.
It would take up. You would need some land for sure.
Let's do it, you guys.
Well,
I know that there are lots of people out there who have built like full recreations of like the bridge.
Sure. Yeah.
Or 10 forward.
I've seen that been done, but I've never seen anybody try to put like West Wing style, like a connected thing that you could walk through the whole ship. I've never seen anybody do that.
That'd be cool.
I mean, it sounds like, and it's obviously it's not, but it sounds like that's what they're building in the Star Wars land in Disney World. Like the hotel there is supposed to be like a starship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
they're supposed to build a Marvel campus too there. That's where
that's actually going to be here,
right?
In California.
I will go do that.
Yeah, you think Disneyland's ever going to open? That's so
possible,
cute.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much money Disney is losing right now?
I'm not really
Tom.
worried about the poor Disney losing money right now.
We ended up watching that doc series you recommended where
The
they
Imagineering story.
Yeah, that's
It's cool.
pretty fun.
Yeah. It's very Matt recommended it to me originally.
Oh.
Yeah, that was really interesting about all those the building of all the parks and stuff. It was interesting. It kind of made me want to go to some of the more unusual.
I really want to go to the second one in
that water
Tokyo,
water theme one that's in Japan.
Yeah.
Like that looks really cool.
That's where me and Catherine want to go. The next time we go to one, I think we want to go to that one, the first overseas one we go to.
Yeah.
The one in Japan hasn't really done well financially, has it?
I think it did. I think it did not do well maybe at first.
At first, yeah.
Okay.
Opened.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm assuming they've overcome that because it's still there.
Yeah.
But that's not the one that we're talking about because there's another one in Japan, right? That's the one that has all the water.
It's called Disney Sea, SEA.
Oh, right. Disney Sea.
And instead of a castle, it's got a volcano in the middle of it.
Oh.
Built right on the ocean. So like you're like, it's pretty cool.
Where is that one?
I'm pretty sure it's in not too far from Tokyo as well.
Okay.
Like, I think it's in the same general area.
It's hard for me to imagine a volcano offering the same amount of aesthetic appeal that a castle does. But like I suppose Mount Fuji is a big sort of monument out in Japan. So and
also the sort of aesthetic of the whole park is different. It's not sort of. It doesn't have the sort of fantasy land type area that the castle always goes with. But so, I mean, it's only the Magic Kingdoms that have the castle. Most of their parks don't.
It's actually right next door. It's part of the same. It's like Disneyland and California Adventure. They're right next door to each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea are part of the same complex at Disney Tokyo.
Yeah.
You guys gonna learn a little Japanese?
I've been trying to learn a little Japanese. I've been taking little Japanese lessons, but
that's awesome.
I'm still at the part where they teach you like the sounds. So I'm still working on the alphabet. It's hard. It's complicated.
Yeah, for sure. If you just keep watching anime, you'll pick up Japanese, I'm sure. Watch Terrace House. You can watch those crazy Japanese game shows. I think absorbing the culture and the media can really help with picking things up. Oh my gosh. Can duplicate Picard control this ship? Will it recognize him as Picard?
According to what's her face, she's like they're the same. Troy, not Troy. Yeah. Troy.
Yeah, the Betazoid.
Yeah.
I like that Picard is really almost angry at the other Picard.
What would you be like if you saw yourself? What would you want to do?
I wouldn't
have sex with it.
What?
I asked Sleep that. He's like, no way. I wouldn't want to have sex with it. I wouldn't say get to work so I can take a break. Like, that's smart.
Well, but I assume your other self would say the exact same thing to you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Depends.
Shawn, I cannot believe that you would have sex with yourself.
No, I would not have sex with myself.
I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I like you're smelling very good, Shawn.
Oh, thank you.
But I don't think I would be thrown off. I think I would be very confused, and I think sex would be the last thing on my mind.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe not the last thing.
In the middle somewhere. Well, at the end, he's like, I don't recommend like running into yourself, basically. It's like, that shit sucks.
Yeah, he's like threatened by its very existence, so he does not handle it well.
Well, it's a stressful situation too, because he's basically like gone to tell him like everyone's gonna blow up except you in like 3 hours or whatever.
But it's also like a you that you can't control. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like ill, and so he can't like communicate, it's all the stuff.
Oh, what is this? Trippy. Oh, this is them explaining the time warp.
What? Yeah. So he's sort of out of phase.
I see.
Which is why he's acting all. You won't talk or anything.
Yeah, he's derpy.
They need to go and sing a musical and bring him back with the power of electricity or something. Yes, that would make this episode.
So it's been a while since we've done this, and there's a lot of them, but I can't wait any longer because we had 2 massive deaths over the last week, and so we need to pour some out.
Okay.
Going back to May.
Jesus.
I'll go through them quick. Richard Hurd, who's a pretty famous that guy. We'll actually get to know him pretty well when we get to Voyager. He was on Star Trek Voyager quite a lot. Let's see.
Good old Dickie Hurd.
Yeah.
I always remember him from the Quantum Leap episode where he goes with Captain Galaxy and Future Boy. He played Captain Galaxy. Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher. A lot of action movies.
What does everyone feel about Joel Schumacher as a director?
Remind me what he's
Pirates? He did Pirates, right?
No, I don't think he did. Did he do Pirates?
These deaths all happened like ages ago.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't done this in a long time. I want to give people their due.
Give people their due.
All right.
Or you could just do a time warp, skip ahead, and do Sean Connery.
We know where it's going. I mean,
Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
Hugh Downs.
Oh, Schumacher did Falling Down.
Yep.
That's right.
He's done some good movies, but he's also done some really crappy movies because he also did
Batman and Robin. Independence
He did Batman
Day?
Forever, which I actually like. I'll actually defend that movie, but Batman and Robin is really bad. But Ennio Morricone.
Ennio Morricone, spaghetti western composer. Oh, I used to listen to his soundtracks as a teenager, I think. Just very.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's brilliant. Love him.
Kelly Preston.
Oh, yeah, that was super sad. Too soon.
Naya Rivera, for all you Glee fans out there.
God, that was like 10 years ago. What are we doing?
We're catching up to.
Hey, you guys don't ever let me do
anything that happened pre-COVID. Just skip.
This is all after COVID. Come on, not that long ago.
There's a lot of
Naya Rivera died 15 years ago, easily.
Regis Philbin.
She died in July.
Never talked about him. Olivia de Havilland.
Yeah.
Famous old movie starlight.
Yeah. Our favorite, we talk about him all the time. Wilford Brimley died.
I know. That was sad.
About that on the show.
How old was he when he passed?
He's in his 80s.
Okay.
Oh, man. There's another Brimley line now.
Yep.
Don't want to cross that one.
Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Very sad death. There were a lot of tributes to Chadwick Boseman.
Diana Quickler.
Diana Rigg.
He's trying to.
Emma Peel herself.
I can see why you guys don't do this that much.
Yeah, we need to take this often because doing it all
talk amongst yourself. I'm just telling him out as I see him.
Yeah. Takes time to get through them. Find them.
You should have the list.
Helen
in your
Reddy?
hand, like
I do have a list in my hand. Helen Reddy, singer of I Am Woman.
I didn't realize she passed.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Johnny Nash. He can't see clearly now anymore.
Or Canny.
Canny, there you go. And there you go. Sean Connery there.
RBG.
We mentioned that on
Oh.
the episode. When that happened, I think we
Well, I wasn't paying attention.
and of course, today as
this
we're
morning-
recording,
about that.
we just had
Alex
to deal with the
Trebek.
death of Alex Trebek.
Yes.
I know. That was interesting because I didn't know, but I was like just kind of looking across the room, and we have his book, his memoir that he published recently, and I was just looking at it today and just kind of thinking about Alex Trebek, and then he passed. It's kind of weird.
Oh, what's his memoir called?
I'll tell you. Hang on.
I was hoping it's something. I hope it's a Jeopardy pun, but
Yeah, it's got to be an answer in the form of a question, right? It's got to be.
Answer.
It's got to be
is-
something.
It's called The Answer Is ... Reflections on My Life.
Mhm.
It was pretty well regarded. I got it over the summer.
You haven't had a chance to read it yet?
I haven't. Philippe's looked at it, but I got it for Philippe first.
Someone's got their phone buzzer going off super close to
It's
their
not-
mic.
Yeah, I don't have. It's not me.
Okay.
Matt keeps sending pictures of Disney Sea.
Oh.
Oh, maybe my thing is buzzing. I don't know.
No, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it your Slack channel? Well, Disney Sea does look pretty fun.
It looks great.
Yeah.
It was the fourth most visited theme park in the world in 2018. So it's pretty popular.
Yeah, it looked really cool when I saw that in the documentary. And it was crazy because I'm a pretty heavy Disney head, and I'd never even heard of it until that
I
documentary.
knew that there was something called Disney Sea, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was more like SeaWorld, like animals and stuff. I didn't realize it was an actual, like, regular theme park with rides and things. I thought it was more like animal shows and things like that, but it's not. It's just all water themed. All of the attractions and shit are water themed.
Cool, man.
They have all these different areas. There's Venice, like Venice with the canals and stuff. And yeah.
Did you guys ever go to the water show at Disneyland when you were young? And it was like, I think a little more small, low key.
Asia.
Yeah,
that one? Or
I don't know. I think there was one when I was like a kid that was maybe even, I don't. What was it? There was shooting water streams and such, but I don't. It wasn't like any sort of a parade or anything. Or yeah.
You sure this was at Disneyland, not some other park?
I'm really worried that this is some sort of suppressed trauma
It's
surfacing.
Your parents took you to Disney, but it was like.
Was there
that they just were having the dogs pee on you?
Sure, yeah. They didn't have a water
yeah, they did.
attraction like
They've
that?
had all kind of different.
I mean,
yeah, they did.
They've had
all kind of
Phantasmic
different.
years, but that was after we were kids. I'm trying to think of what they would have had before
I
that.
think they did still have something in that lagoon, like when we were kids. I just think it wasn't nearly. It wasn't nearly as fancy. I think it was just like. I think it was just like shooting, water jets shooting up and stuff like that. Like at Bellagio.
Yeah, but I don't think it was nearly as.
It wasn't like Phantasmic with there was a whole production and stuff. It was more just like a little water show that you could watch for a couple minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a lot of overlap, as you can probably guess, between Star Trek fans and Jeopardy fans. Like the Venn diagram is pretty big.
I can see that.
And so a lot of the people that I follow who on Twitter, who are mostly Star Trek people, they were all sort of like sharing their like Jeopardy stories. And a lot of people had been on Jeopardy, so they were sharing their little stories about being on the show. It was very sweet. Twitter is good for stuff like that. Like Twitter can be a horrible hellscape a lot of the time, but when somebody like that dies and everyone's sort of like sharing
Comes
their
together.
recollections of him, it's very
Mhm.
sweet. And he was one of those guys that it seems like just everybody liked. Like
Yeah.
nobody had anything negative to say about him. He was just like
That's nice.
this guy that everybody thought was really great. And
Yeah.
when you watch a show for that long, over so many years, like basically every single day. Like,
Sure.
I used to watch it as a kid with my parents. So
Yeah.
that's how, he did it for 36 years.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Started in 1984
Yeah.
hosting that show.
Working one day a week.
Well,
Yeah,
I think he
pretty
worked
cool.
more than that, but not very. It was a pretty
You would
game show host. I've said this before.
Get a lot of time off. Yeah.
Game show host is the dream job.
Yeah.
If you're on a successful game show, that is just the fucking cake job of them all.
Money in the bank.
You get to be rich and famous. Everybody loves you because you're on, because people love game shows. And you work like 10 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And the rest of the year, you just get to fuck off and do whatever you want.
Sure.
It's an amazing gig if you can get it.
But the number of super successful game show hosts is pretty minimal, I think.
Correct. There are not very many Alex Trebeks in the
Mhm.
world, but there are a lot of game
yeah.
shows. Like
It used to be a lot more of a thing. It's not.
it used to be a lot more of a thing.
Let's bringing it back. I know ABC is bringing
Had
it.
a rebirth, it seems.
Because they're so
Every once in a while, something will come along, like when Millionaire came along, and suddenly everybody was into game shows again. Like every once in a while, something will come along and briefly become really popular. But Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune are really the two that have been around for
and the
ever.
price is right.
Do you guys like the Hollywood Game Night?
What's the Hollywood Game Night?
What?
Jane Lynch.
The Jane Lynch hosted one with trivia and
Like
Oh, yeah.
No, but you know what's good is we've talked about this before. Is the new Press Your Luck that Elizabeth Banks hosts? She's great at being a game show host.
Who is?
She hadn't become a
Elizabeth.
movie star. She could have been a great game show host.
Who are we talking about?
Elizabeth Banks. She hosts the Price
yeah.
Right.
I just didn't realize
New
which
Price
one
is
she
Right.
was doing. I've seen ads for her. She's funny. I like her.
Really funny, and she really gets into it, and she really roots for the people to win. Like she's really good at it. She's very good at being sincerely like excited for people when they win. She's good at it.
Mm.
I just looked it up. Trebek makes $12 million. Made $12 million a year for working.
So he's been ill for some time. Has there already been talk about who would replace him? Because
No, I don't think there's any. I don't even know.
Are they still? I mean, I know they're still making new episodes. Were they still making them when he died?
Yeah, I think
Up for a while.
I read today that they had a bunch in the bank. They had a bunch already taped.
Gotcha.
yeah,
So I think
doing his
his
thing.
last. Yeah, he was working all the way pretty much up until very recently. So I think they said his last episode is going to air in like sometime in December.
Okay.
So I don't know what they do after that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Reruns?
I mean, the guy just died. So.
You should put yourself
Well,
out there.
but he's had a bad diagnosis for a long time, so I didn't know
Yeah.
what they had.
I don't think they've. I bet they'd.
I
I
know
bet
he,
behind the
ordained
scenes.
someone to follow him or something.
They've totally been
I'm
looking
sure
for someone.
behind the scenes they've talked about it and thought about it, but they haven't.
I have to
announced
imagine he had to have put his stamp on whoever it was.
Yeah.
Can't imagine they would do it without his approval.
Yeah.
Whoever
it
it
won't
was.
be the same. Like whoever
No.
they get.
Well,
Sure, you have to embrace it. It'll be a totally different vibe and personality. I sort of want Philippe to be the next Jeopardy host.
Oh no, Philippe is too cynical.
Yeah, but that'd be a different take. But people
that's
want their
what's nice about this
Jeopardy.
memoir is like it's very optimistic, even though he got to live a pretty long time with the diagnosis that he had. I mean, when I heard that he had it was a pancreatic cancer, right?
Yeah.
That's usually a pretty tough one to.
He's Canadian, right?
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
better healthcare.
Well, just generally more relaxed about life, than Americans are.
I was kind of amazed that he was able to keep going as long as he did.
Yeah, for sure. Hardworking man there.
Yeah. 230 episodes a year, but they only film for like 12 weeks because
Right.
you do
Very,
so many in a
those
chunk.
12 weeks must be pretty busy, but
Yeah, so you're pretty busy for about 3 months, and then you're done for the year. It's not
The
a bad
opposite of a
gig.
teacher.
You can get it.
cool.
Yeah. I suppose there's something to be said for like on a show called Jeopardy, how there's not that much like real seeming jeopardy. So it's like very comforting and very relaxed.
You like them Japanese game shows, don't you?
You want them.
No.
You want to do
Where
more of
the-
the like.
No.
We
where
don't
they're
reward
actually-
intelligence. We punish ignorance.
As long as it's not brutal, I can't like I appreciate MMA fights, but I just like I might finish watching one and there's just so much adrenaline pouring through me. It's not something I enjoy. I'm just like tense and stressed. I'm like raging.
You know they're not going to hit you, right?
I don't know. There's still something super visceral about it, Whereas like a Japanese game show, you can be like, oh wow, that's cool or interesting, but I don't. I maybe they get brutal, but I sort of filter against those things. It looks like in the Japanese.
Who is not named Shawn can tell me a sitcom that did an episode about Jeopardy, about one of the characters on the sitcom being on Jeopardy. There are lots of correct answers to
Big Bang Theory.
No.
Oh, damn it.
Think older, like older.
I mean, that was purely a guess, but I would have
That's
thought.
a good guess. That is a very good guess, but I don't think they
Friends? No.
No.
I'm just striking out.
I think Friends was a good guess, but
Friends is
I
a
know.
pretty good guess.
I don't think Seinfeld did one. Did they?
No.
What do you have,
Older.
Aaron? What about Aaron? Come on, Aaron. Give us a
I don't know,
guess.
man. I can only think of Saturday Night Live. I can't think of a sitcom.
Oh.
Sure.
Cheers did
Cheers
one.
was the one
Cheers?
I famously
Yeah.
remember.
Wow.
Cliff goes
From
on.
Cheers
and
been on Jeopardy.
he's like way ahead, and he is killing it. And then he bets everything on Final Jeopardy when he doesn't need to. And the question is like, what do these three people have in common? And he answers, they've never been in my kitchen.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, the reason he does well is because all of the categories are like things mailmen would know. Like it's all like the categories are all like breeds of angry dogs and
Yeah. Postal codes.
The Golden Girls did one. Blossom did one.
Blossom.
Who went on
The Nanny?
Blossom?
Well, it was a dream sequence, but it was Joey.
Gotcha.
It was Joey.
Joey.
It was Joey Lawrence having a
Whoa.
dream that he's on Jeopardy. But but they did it on the set, and Alex was
Sure.
in it, so I think it counts, even though it was a dream
That's
sequence.
cool.
Totally counts. So it's
And
mostly
then a couple of
older shows.
A couple of non-sitcoms that I didn't know about. There's a Beverly Hills 90210 episode that's about them trying to get on college Jeopardy.
Okay.
And there's an episode of Baywatch
Wow.
where one of the girls
That-
gets on
That
Jeopardy.
tracks. Of course, classically, Rosie Perez and White Men Can't Jump goes on Jeopardy.
Listen to this description of this. This is the plot of a Baywatch episode from 1998 called "Swept Away." Alex Riker, that's the character's name, wants to be a contestant on Jeopardy, and she makes it on the show. Later, she has to rescue host Alex Trebek because he's drowning. Even though she knows she will never get a chance to compete on the show, according to its rule that the contestants are not allowed to know anyone from the Jeopardy staff. However, Trebek feels sorry for her, so instead he gives her a lifetime supply of Jeopardy products.
Nice.
What are Jeopardy products?
So he got to be on
I
Baywatch.
don't know, like hoodies and stuff.
Jeopardy lube.
Jeopardy.
Happy mug.
I got a tote bag and a cap, like a baseball cap that said Jeopardy on them. I just think that that's really funny that the dilemma she has to deal with is, do I save Alex Trebek's life or do I give up my chance to be on Jeopardy?
We'll never, yeah, right.
Let him die. He's still going to be on the show. That's nice.
I'm surprised that they all seem like older shows. Nothing more recent has kept on the Jeopardy bandwagon.
Pinnacle was probably the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, it's really not as much of a thing as it was back then.
Yeah.
There's just too much TV to watch nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, back then you didn't have, you kind of what that was all that was on from 7 to 8. Was Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Like, you didn't have choices. It was that or news on some other channel. So as kids, we watched the game shows.
Yeah, sure did.
We would watch MASH because MASH reruns would be on from like 6 to 7. So we would watch 2 MASHs and then we would watch Wheel and Jeopardy were on right after the other at 7.
And then primetime would show up.
And then whatever your regular shows were.
Yeah. Yeah. So Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy were primetime game shows versus Price is Right was always like on at like noon or whatever.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was always in the morning.
Although it's weird because
it was like after Today's Show and before the soaps. It was like in that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I imagine it was aimed at housewives who had a chance to take a break and they could learn about household products and pricing for household products, right?
Well, I was remember like the 80s was like the height of mid-morning game shows, right? That in between the early show and then the soaps, there was all these game shows. It was always a fun day when you got to be home from school because you got to actually watch the game shows.
Right.
Yeah, well, it was like Let's Make a Deal and like those kind of shows.
Yeah, you had like Password and well, of course, Price is Right.
Tic-Tac-Toe. I was a fan of Tic-Tac-Toe because I liked that video board that they had where you had to avoid the 8-bit image of a dragon that would appear if you picked the wrong snare.
I was into Supermarket Sweep big time.
That was a good one. Have you watched
back? Is it back? I know it was coming back. Is it actually back on?
I don't know. I don't know if it started or not. But you know that they have classic Supermarket Sweep episodes on Netflix.
Guys, Picard just killed himself. Do we have to drink?
I think we do. I think we have to. I think we have to drink for Picard killing
duplicate Picard.
Yeah, Picard squared.
Going back to our topic, I watched them. I've made Philippe watch them. I'm like, you gotta go for the diapers. You gotta go for the big hams. You gotta go for the olive oil or whatever. I was like, that's what's gotta rack up your
big hams.
Too, man.
There's definitely a strategy to you have to go for the big ticket items on the show.
I used to love that.
I like.
Is that one of those shows where you were like, I would be very good at this?
I think so. I used to do the shopping with my dad back in the day, so I knew my way around a supermarket, and I used to help him add up the bill and stuff.
I would love to see you go ham on a game show like that.
Just go on the new one. You should go on the new one.
Yeah, I was like
you and Minh.
No way. I would be no good at that.
That's a great premise for a show because especially as a kid, like adults kind of go crazy in a place where they're not traditionally supposed to go crazy.
Yeah,
it's fun to see the supermarket as like a playground in that sense.
Right? Well, as an adult, my brother was still afraid to go to our local supermarket in my hometown because he got kicked out for life because there was a really bad storm, like a really, really bad storm. And he was at the supermarket when it hit and all the lights went out. And of course, he and his friend just started snacking. And when the lights went back on,
it was such empty Raptors all around.
Yeah.
They had no evidence, though.
I remember that storm. I was at home and it was a big one. It was a real, light the candles, get all together in a room and just wait for it to blow over.
When he grew up, couldn't he go back and they probably have no idea. He was
sort of the neck on swivel when he was in there. He's
they didn't have a big picture of him on the do not let this man in.
They like
have-
aged.
They
like,
aged him. They have a police catch.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Right.
they
It's
model
been
with
30 years, but we will
He
not forget.
possibly could look like this now. It's like, didn't they do that on America's Most
Sorry.
Wanted all the time?
Yeah.
It's been 25 years. We think you look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it with kidnapping victims too.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the more traditional use. But anyway, I just always think about that story. It cracks me up. What would you do if the lights went out in a grocery store?
Jerk off.
I doubt my first instinct would be to just sit down and start eating. Like, my
Well,
first move would probably be
You're 16 years old.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I don't know. I would have been like, we're gonna get in trouble, you guys. I would have been that guy. I would have been the guy with guys. That's
you
not
could've
ours.
A friend to talk my brother out of it.
Okay, well, if you're gonna do it, just keep all the wrappers so we can pay for it on the way out. Okay, guys?
We're gonna
so we
do
can
this
pay
like
later.
up and up.
I wouldn't
That's
be
how I
the
would have been, Matt.
I was
I
at the
agree with you.
grocery store. I was at the grocery store a couple weeks ago, and I had gotten a bottle of water and had been drinking the bottle of water while I was shopping. I was still wearing my mask. I only took the mask off to take a sip of water. Then I put the mask right back on. Everybody chill. It was fun.
Oh, shaming you, bro. Come on.
No, I know, but I just feel like I have to disclaimer all of those kinds of things now before somebody can jump on you. Like, you weren't wearing your mask at the grocery store? It's like, no, I was. Calm down. So anyway, I would, and usually if you do something like that, you just show it, they just blip it at the end. They just hit it with the thing and you say, this too, and they just scan it. Well, I forgot this time. I forgot to scan it until after I had paid. But the guy was the cashier is the guy that I go to all the time. He's like one of the managers there. He's this super cool, big, tall, black guy, and he's just like the best grocery store clerk you've ever seen in your entire life. And he was like, so I always stand in his line, even though it's long, because everybody likes him. So they all stand in line to like have a great interaction with Dwayne.
Someone knows what they're doing in the checkout line.
And so I said, "Oh, Dwayne, I forgot. Scan. You need to scan this separately. I'll pay for it." He was like, "No, you're my friend. You can just take that. Just don't worry about it." And I felt like I had won the lottery.
Yeah,
It's like,
made the whole day.
water. He gave me a free water. What a fucking rock star! I was thrilled that I had gotten a free water. When really I'm sure he was just like, I don't feel like ringing in that $1.
It's gonna take more time than it's worth.
Yeah.
He's like, I got 3 people in line. Just take
And
the
they've
water.
got diapers, cured meats, and a big things of olive oil.
I was very happy. I walked out of there.
Next time, you just got to eat an entire 20-pound ham and then just get out the wrapper to, I ate this. Can you scan it? Oh, no.
Any of the big deli items, like the big blocks of cheese.
The 20-pound.
Interesting is like the 2020 version is the same. Like, what's the thing that like rings up the bill?
The Toblerone, the Ferrero Rochers.
You know what's incredibly expensive is good Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive, the size of it. Like they have the Ralph's that I go to has one of those Murray's cheese shop like things in it.
Charcuterie.
And so they have all those fancy cheeses out.
Yeah.
And they always have like chunks of Parmesan that they've cut off of the big wheel and wrapped in plastic. And they're not very big, these chunks. And they're like $13 for like 8 ounces worth of Parmesan. And you're just like, this shit is like gold. Like, I should be in the Parmesan side.
You should be in the hard cheese business.
These people, why didn't I go into hard cheeses? Because that's where the
money is.
I every time I'm like, I should get a chunk of Parmesan. And every time I'm like, $14. I'm always stunned. Even though I know what's gonna happen, it happens every time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go for lox and like caviar, Aaron?
What about it?
Wouldn't you go for lox and caviar? Wouldn't that be the big ticket items as well?
Caviar, maybe. But I think part of it is like you also have to spot it on the shelf. So diapers take up volume and are expensive.
Most like grocery stores, I don't think sell caviar.
Well, it'll be interesting. I'm assuming the new supermarket sweep is going to be more of a like average
gourmet,
like
average
Whole Foods,
Not like a Whole Foods type play. It'll be more like a Ralph's.
Because my approach would be different. But I think, yeah, you have to, it's the intersection between being able to run to the aisle and grab it. And then it.
Imagine playing supermarket sweep at Trader Joe's,
Right.
where all they have is like
I think
$2 bottle
all
of
they
wine.
have is like
you'd have
all
to
they have
know
is like frozen orange chicken packets and $2 chuck. Like that's all they have. Trader Joe's.
That sounds like a good meal still. I think everyone wins in the end there.
There's only like 3 aisles though, so it doesn't
The short game. And I had some good hummus from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, they've got good bread. I like the bread.
They're good at that stuff, man. If you want snacks, Trader Joe's is the place.
Yeah.
Is there? It looks like in the photo from Disneyland Japan that there's a Tower of Terror. Is there a Tower of Terror there?
There is, yeah. Every once in a while, I'll be in Trader Joe's and I'll see somebody who's doing their actual shopping. Like they'll have like a chicken and like actual stuff in their cart, and it's just and I'm always kind of taken aback. Like, is this where you do your regular shopping?
Because this is where I get all my frozen like apps.
This is where I get frozen Chinese food and snacks.
Yeah,
hummus.
Yeah,
but some people actually shop there like for real, and it always makes me laugh because they have such a weird selection there that it's you have to have a very specific palate to only want things that come from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, right. Good point.
A lot of they got produce, not a huge amount of produce.
I love their produce.
The one in Toluca Lake, I don't know about all the other. I know that there are bigger ones. The one in Toluca Lake that I go to is tiny as hell. So they have a small produce section.
They're not my go-to for produce. I'll just say that. They've got their strengths. I would say produce is not their strength.
You got to hit up the ethnic supermarkets for good, cheap produce.
Yeah. I get a delivery thing.
I used to like to go to the farmer's market.
Yeah, where you can
the Studio City Farmers Market is really good.
There is something to say for knowing and seeing when things are actually in season.
And they have better produce.
And it's funny because all the places, they all have their signs saying where their produce is from. And it's all from Fresno. It's all from right around where I grew up.
Oh, definitely.
All of the stuff comes from
about California, so you can get it all here. So
does that make you feel good about Fresno and like being like, oh, that's where I grew up?
That's always been That's always been the best thing about it is that it's where the fruits and vegetables come from.
And
it doesn't have much else to recommend it. That.
Well, that's a lot. We need it.
It is a lot.
That supply is like
it's not for me as a person, but I'm glad somebody is there doing it. Yeah.
Isn't Fresno getting bigger because isn't it becoming like with the cost of housing kind of like people from
Fresno has just like Fresno has just
Sacramento and Fresno, right? They're both like growing because of that sort of migration of people settling down where they can afford it more, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't afford to buy a house here, but you can maybe in
Well, I think it's more like Bay Area people those are.
Yeah, it's bad there too.
Yeah, well, because I mean, Fresno is kind of in between. It's closer to San Francisco than LA, right? Or
no, it's exactly halfway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, literally
4 hours.
Literally, if you drew a line from San Francisco to Los Angeles and measured it and picked the exact midpoint, you'd pretty much be right on Fresno.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not an area I know that well, but I guess I've just heard more San Franciscans talk about settling in.
Fresno definitely thinks of itself as a Northern California place rather than if you go to Fresno, you see a lot of including my father, a lot of Giants and
Yeah, a lot of 49ers stuff. A lot of San Francisco teams.
Very few people in in Fresno would claim to be a Lakers or a Dodgers fan, because it's just they think of themselves as being not Southern California, right? Yeah. So they self-identify more with Northern California.
Well, yeah.
Los Angelinos would retire to Palm Springs, and
if you could afford to live there. Palm Springs is fucking expensive, man.
You can afford to move to Mecca.
Morongo.
I know a lot of people.
I haven't been to this farmers market since COVID, so although I think they were for a while still having it, but
it's part of the essential services. They're having it for sure, since it's food and it's open air. So I haven't been either. I get it all delivery, but I do have a produce box that comes from California farms. So I have like a weekly box that comes with. It's a California thing. Yeah.
Brag.
They have too. Brag. Yeah.
Well, but it's not a brag. You have to be on it in order to cook it and make use of it. Otherwise, like a box for me would just sit around. I'd be like,
just getting everything in, and especially when everything was weird with the supply, getting stuff was the whole thing. Well, it's like, it's part COVID, part like when you're busy, it's like hard to get out and do that stuff too. It's kind of a combo of those two things, time and pandemic.
Well, the holidays are coming up, or their holidays are here with our release schedule. So
right, yes. The holidays have just passed.
We didn't do a very Christmas
holiday.
Episode. We talked about it right at the beginning, and then we completely forgot.
Sorry, listeners.
that this was the Christmas.
Well, if anybody wants to give me, a Christmas present.
Yeah, it's already Black Friday because
you've already given us the greatest present of all, which is remembering all the people who have died recently.
That's right.
Yeah, that was depressing.
I thought you were going to say you've already given us the gift of a new president.
Shawn had nothing to do with that.
He did not have nothing to do with it.
He did his part.
He did his part. He was standing out on a street corner. I mean, with a sign that read Black Lives Matter.
Read $5 a blowjob.
Well, I mean, on the back, you had to adapt to the audience that you have.
There is a Tower of Terror at Tokyo Disney Sea.
For those of you who have been on the Tower of Terror at California Adventure, have you ever been to the one in Disney World?
Oh, no.
Nope.
Never been to
The one in Disney World actually moves forward before you go onto the track that goes up and down.
That's scary.
It's much cooler, the one in Florida.
Well, I'm glad to see that they're spreading the Tower of Terror, though. That is a fun ride. Of
course, now we don't have it here. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, California.
Well, we're here at the end, I think, guys. Yeah.
Well,
I kind of missed what happened. He killed himself and then got in this shuttlecraft.
No, he didn't
get in the shuttlecraft.
That was his whole thing.
We don't have to do that. We can just ride this out and fly right through the thing.
He gave the order to fly directly into the danger instead.
And nothing happens except that duplicate Picard and duplicate's shuttle just disappear, and no one really knows why.
Would you have the balls to kill yourself?
So there's like no explanation for why that worked to just fly through the thing. He just guessed that he was right. Wow, that's disappointing.
But kind of bold. Like, wouldn't you be worried somehow that would mess up the whole thing and then you just be dead? Like, stop.
There was an element of it where they suggested that it was the force behind the whole like weird space twister phenomenon that was kind of putting them through a test as well.
I must have fallen asleep watching this today because I don't remember that.
Yeah. And that's why I gave it a low score.
Okay.
Erin only remembered the good parts. That's why she gave it a high score.
That's true. I'm not the one to remember plot points.
Well, she was right though. This episode got a high score. So.
I thought the whole double Picard thing was pretty cool overall.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a good chance for Patrick Stewart to show off and have fun and all that good stuff.
Agreed.
Put a bow on it.
Wrap this shit
We
up.
talked about supermarkets.
Now that we've concluded
This has
our
been supermarket talk.
discussion, thank you all very much for listening. Please go to wherever you get your podcast to rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at Warp the Podcast, on Twitter at Warp Trek. You can follow me on Twitter at Host Warped. You can follow Minh to learn about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu live streams and podcasts at Wet Maynard. You can get our merch, including the now iconic Down to Pond Far t-shirt at Instagram.com/lunar_flare, FLAIR.FLARE. I realized the other day. Patreon.com/warped to become a subscriber, get access to bonus content and additional episodes. Back to you, Shawn.
Well, once again, if you're listening to this on the day it is released, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
To it a day after that, well, fuck off.
Hey, when are you guys going to put your trees up this year? Because we're going early this year.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend.
Oh, really?
Usually
God, before Thanksgiving?
Yeah. So the rule here has always been, because Stan's a big Christmas guy. He loves Christmas. He loves the decorations and the whole deal. And I like Christmas, but I don't.
And you guys do have a phenomenal tree. It is.
We have a great tree. We have a
nerd-gasm.
It's nerd heaven Christmas tree. So usually what we do is he puts it up the day after Thanksgiving, like Thanksgiving weekend.
That's usually
this year,
what we are ours.
This year we're talking about putting it up. This year I told him, look, all rules are off, all bets are off.
Yeah,
whatever you want.
It's about, man.
2020, fuck it. Man.
I was like, this year you get a free pass. Christmas can start whenever you want. I said, what about the day after the election? And he said, let's wait and see who actually gets elected first. But now the election's over. Joe Biden won. Hooray. And so I think he's probably going to do it not during the week because he'll be busy, but like next weekend probably.
Yeah. Oh, fun. I want to see pictures.
Yeah, it's all pop culture nerd stuff. It's Star Trek and Star Wars.
I remember the one with the tribbles.
Yes, the whole tree is that.
Do you guys still get an actual tree, or do you have an artificial?
No, it's
tree?
artificial. It's artificial. It's the same one.
Yeah, it's very very environmentally friendly.
So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. And my name is Shawn.
My name is Matt.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
Minwin.
And I'm May.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Hug some friends and family. Tuck them away.
Don't hug. We're still in the middle of it. In fact, it's getting worse. The numbers are worse now than they've been.
Yeah, we got to be careful on the holiday.
And nobody's paying attention to it because
everyone was all
wrapped up in the election.